Hello friends, welcome to the video lessons on electronic measuring instruments. In this class, I'll explain about the triangular wave to sine wave generator used in the function generator. Before we look into the present topic, let us try to recollect what all we have seen in the last topic. In the last topic, we have seen what is a function generator, what are the features of function generator, block diagram of function generator, working of function generator, and integrator and Schmidt trigger. Function generator is the source of EMF which produces AC signals of different shapes and different frequencies, such as sinusoidal wave, rectangular wave, triangular wave, sawtooth wave, etc. And all these signals can be generated with varying frequencies. And the block diagram of a function generator mainly consists of a triangular wave generator, and the output of the triangular wave generator is given to a Schmidt trigger circuit or voltage comparator multivibrator circuit, which converts the triangular wave into square wave, and the output of the square wave generator is given to a square wave amplifier, then to an attenuator, in order to get a square wave of variable amplitude. Similarly, the triangular wave output is given to a triangular wave to sine wave converter, in which we can convert the triangular wave output into a sinusoidal signal. That we will see today. Triangular to sinusoidal wave conversion. So this we have seen in the last class, the basic block diagram of a function generator, mainly consisting of a triangular wave generator, which comprises of a comparator, sorry, an integrator made up of an operational amplifier, and this integrator using operational amplifier is supplied with positive current for some period of time and negative current for some other period of time. During the period for which the positive current is supplied through the capacitor, the voltage on the capacitor will be a positive going ramp, and during the period when the negative current is supplied to the capacitor, the voltage on the capacitor is a negative going ramp. Then, depending upon the magnitude of the voltage on capacitor, voltage comparator multivibrator will produce a rectangular wave, and depending upon the magnitude of capacitor voltage in positive half cycle and negative half cycle, a sinusoidal voltage is generated using resistance diode wave shaping circuit. Here is the circuit of integrator and Schmidt trigger. In this, we can see that a Schmidt trigger is made up of an operational amplifier and an integrator also is made up of an operational amplifier. Here, just to recollect the functioning of this integrator and Schmitt-Trigger circuit, let us assume that when there is no power supply, the voltage at the output of operational amplifier 1 that is used in integrator is 0, and here the output of operational amplifier 2 which is used in Schmitt-Trigger also is 0. Now when the biasing voltage for both the operational amplifiers is switched on, then initially, because of leakage currents in the transistors used in operational amplifiers. An operational amplifier is made up of transistors. Let us not go into the details, but the transistor is the basic building block of an operational amplifier. Now, even when there is no input to a transistor, when biasing voltage is applied to transistor, there would be some reverse leakage current. Similarly, here also in the operational amplifiers also there would be some reverse leakage current, and when the power supply is switched on here, the biasing voltage plus VCC and minus VEE, then with the inverting terminal of the integrator at ground potential and with a minute non-inverting voltage, the output will be high at the output of comparator, at the output of first op amp, and this output of first op amp is applied as input to the second op amp. Second op amp output also would be high. So naturally, this Schmitt-Trigger output, that is the second operational amplifier output, is connected as input to the integrator circuit through a potentiometer. So depending upon the Viper potential here, a positive voltage will appear on the capacitor. So capacitor gradually starts charging with a polarity of positive plus here and negative minus here. So the output of the operational amplifier gradually starts changing in the negative direction. Our capacitor starts charging, and the capacitor charging looking from outside appears to be negative going ramp. Now you can see that initially when the power is switched on, the output of the Schmitt-Trigger is high, and when the output is high here at the output of Schmitt-Trigger, and when the voltage at V2 is a negative going ramp, that is a negative voltage is available at V2, a positive voltage is available at V3. Now what is the potential or what is the voltage at the terminal of at the non-inverting terminal of second operational amplifier that is used for Schmitt-Trigger? It has to be found by using superposition theorem, because two supply voltages are available here on both sides of the network, that is V3 and V2. Now what is the voltage available at the non-inverting terminal of operational amplifier 2 is nothing but the drop across R3 when V2 is grounded plus the drop across R4 when V3 is grounded. That is applying superposition theorem. I need not go in detail about the superposition theorem because already you should have studied this. So naturally, if I assume that V2 is grounded, then the path resistance is R4, R3 to ground. So the current is V3 by R4 plus R3 into R3. That is the voltage drop across the non-inverting terminal. Similarly, if I assume V3 to be grounded, in that case, here is a negative voltage. So now also current flows in the same direction, but the drop now here it would be with respect to R4. So V2 by R3 plus R4 into R4. So V3 by R3 plus R4 into R3 plus V2 by R3 plus R4 into R4. One is a negative voltage and one is a positive voltage. So the algebraic sum would be a positive voltage which is gradually decreasing, which is gradually decreasing. But here this voltage is depending on V2, where V2 is a varying voltage, whereas V3 is a fixed voltage. So depending upon the amplitude of V2, the voltage at the non-inverting terminal also gradually starts decreasing. At one particular point, that is, when the voltage on the capacitor reaches LTP, the potential at the non-inverting terminal of this second operational amplifier will become 0 or slightly less than 0. So the comparator output of this Schmitt trigger, it will go to the negative saturation. At this point, when the voltage on the capacitor is lower than LTP, then what happens? The output of the Schmitt trigger will go low. When the output of the Schmitt trigger goes low, then that negative voltage is applied as input to the integrator circuit through the potentiometer. Now what happens with negative voltage? The capacitor starts charging in the opposite direction. First it discharges fully and then recharges. So the current starts flowing in the opposite direction, and the charge or the voltage on the capacitor would be with a polarity plus here on the right, minus on the left. So now V2 is a positive going ramp. V2 is a positive going ramp, whereas V3 is a negative voltage. Once again, the potential at the non-inverting terminal of the second operational amplifier used in Schmitt trigger depends on the relative magnitude of V2 and V3. V3 is a fixed voltage minus VCC, minus VEE, but V2 is a positive going ramp. So at one particular voltage, when the voltage on the capacitor is gradually increasing, when that voltage is equal to UTP, that is upper threshold potential, the potential here at the non-inverting terminal of this op amp, it will be slightly greater than 0, which makes the comparator output to go high. So when the voltage here on the capacitor becomes UTP, then the comparator output goes high. With the comparator output goes high, that is with the Schmitt trigger output high, then once again the input to the integrator becomes low. Now what happens? Capacitor starts discharging. During the process of discharging, once again when LTP, when the voltage on capacitor reaches LTP, once again the Schmitt trigger output will go low and the capacitor starts charging. This is a continuous process, and this is how a triangular wave and a square wave are generated using this combination, integrator and Schmitt trigger combination. You can see here no external AC signal is applied and only biasing voltages are applied, VCC and VEE for the operational amplifiers. But Because of the circuit arrangement, oscillations are generated automatically, and these oscillations are sustained oscillations. Now we have seen how the triangular wave is converted into square wave using a Schmidt-Trigger circuit. Now let us see how the triangular wave can be converted into a sinusoidal wave. Here, this input signal, that is the triangular wave input signal, is given here at the input terminal. Given at the input terminal. And the output is taken here at the output terminal. Now let us see what happens. Initially, when the triangular wave is applied at the input, then during the positive half cycle, that is when the voltage on capacitor is increasing positively at one particular voltage, this diode D1 becomes forward biased and starts conducting. When diode D3 starts conducting, then the input voltage would be would be clipped to this voltage Vi. Initially, when the diode D1 is in off state, here when the triangular wave is in its first half cycle or in the first quarter of the cycle, that is this portion, first quarter means 0 to positive maximum. First quarter of the cycle, the voltage available at the output is simply, if I assume this voltage to be Vin by R1 plus R2, that is the current, multiplied with R2, that is the drop across R2. The drop across R2 is nothing but the output voltage. Is that clear? Drop across R2 is the output voltage. Now, during the process of the increase in the triangular voltage linearly, at one particular voltage, as you can see here, the cathode of the diode is at a positive potential V1 and the anode of the diode is at input voltage. Anode is at input voltage and cathode is at plus V1. So, at one particular voltage, when Vin by R1 plus R2 into R2 becomes slightly greater than V1, anode voltage is Vin by R1 plus R2 into R2, nothing but the output voltage. And when that is slightly greater than V1, diode D1 starts conducting. When diode D1 starts conducting, the potential at this point is clipped to V1. So output voltage will no more exceed beyond V1. It will be clipped here to V1. And during the negative half cycle, it continues to be the same till the potential at this point falls below Vi. V1, sorry, falls below V1. That is when Vin by R1 plus R2 into R2 is slightly less than D1. Then diode D1 stops conducting. When diode D1 stops conducting, then the output voltage simply follows the input voltage. That is from here afterwards on the negative going ramp of the triangular wave, the output simply follows the input till which potential, till that potential at which the cathode voltage of diode D3 is lesser than the voltage minus V1. As you can see here, the capacitor voltage or the triangular wave output is gradually decreasing, and it has become negative and still it is decreasing. At one particular point, when the potential here, which is nothing but the cathode potential, and is equal to V in by R1 plus R2 into R2, when that is lesser than minus V1, diode D2 is forward biased and it starts conducting. When diode D2 starts conducting, then the output voltage would be clipped to minus V1. So during the positive half cycle, the output voltage is clipped to V1. During the negative half cycle, the diode voltage is clipped to V2. Now what you can see here, the nonlinear portion is effectively erased in the triangular signal, and you can see the linearly varying portion, which appears to be almost like a sine wave signal. Almost like a sine wave signal. This is using a single diode. When we are using three diodes, for example, in the positive half cycle and three diodes in the negative half cycle, that means when we use this type of arrangement, when we use, then in that case, during the positive half cycle, during the positive half cycle, when the voltage, that is the triangular voltage, is increasing gradually, when initially it increases beyond a voltage which is equal to V in by R1 plus R2. Anyhow, the potential here is, that is the output voltage here is V in by R1 plus R2 into R2. When that voltage, when that output voltage, or when a fraction of the input voltage exceeds V1, diode D1 starts conducting. Similarly, when it exceeds D3, diode D3 starts conducting. So when it exceeds, V2, diode D3 starts conducting. When the potential here, that is at the output, exceeds beyond V3, diode D5 starts conducting. Now as you can see here, as and when one of the diodes is conducting, output voltage is clipped to that voltage. And similarly, during the negative half cycles, when V in by R1 plus R2 into R2 is lesser than minus V1, diode D2 conducts. When this voltage is lesser than V3, diode D4 will conduct. When this input is lesser than V minus V3, diode D6 will conduct. So even during the negative half cycle also, you can see that as and when the appropriate diode turns on, the output voltage is clipped to that particular voltage. So naturally, the nonlinear variation of triangular wave is limited, and because of the use of diodes, resistors with power supplies, we can get almost a sinusoidal signal at the output instead of a triangular wave. This can be achieved by a simple arrangement like this. Two diodes followed by two voltage sources, or six diodes followed by six voltage sources. Using two diodes followed by two voltage sources, we will get approximate sinusoidal signal. The more the number of diodes and power supplies, the better is the shape of the sinusoidal signal. Triangular waveform can be shaped into good approximation of sine wave by diode resistor loading. Now, let us try to see what is written here. Already I have explained everything, but still once again. Resistor diode wave shaping circuit is widely used for converting triangular to approximate sine wave. Circuit behaves as voltage divider when D1, D2, D2 and R3, R4 are absent. That is, when this portion is not there, D1, D2, R3, R4 and voltages minus V1 plus V1 are not there. Here, with R1 as input and R2 connected to ground, output is nothing but input by R1 plus R2 into R2. That means a portion of the input is made available at the output. So, input is applied across a potential divider, we can say. Acts a voltage divider. The output V0 is attenuated version of the triangular wave input and is given by the expression V0 is equal to Vi by R1 plus R2 into R2. With D1, D2 and R3, R4 present, circuit still behaves as a voltage divider, but the output V0 rises less steeply than without diode D1, D2 and resistors R3, R4. Now, how would we get the output voltage with the diode and resistor? We would get the output voltage using the expression V0 is equal to V in by R2 in parallel with R3, V in into R2 in parallel with R3, that is this portion, V in into R2 in parallel with R3, that is this and this, divided by R1 plus R2 in parallel with R3, R1 plus R2 in parallel with R3. Similarly, during negative half cycle of the triangular input, the attenuated output is given by V0 is equal to, now in this case in place of R3 it would be R4. R2 Vi into Vi into R2 in parallel with R4 divided by R1 plus R2 in parallel with R4. That is the voltage available here. A good approximation of sine wave is obtained by using 6 or more diodes connected via resistors of different bias voltages. A good approximation of sine wave is obtained by using 6 or more diodes connected via resistors of different biasing voltages. In this, the slope of the output changes 3 times during each quarter cycle. That is, in the first quarter cycle and in the third quarter cycle, the output changes 3 times. One at V1, one at V2, one at V3 in the positive half cycle, that is here. At V1, at V2, at V3, and one at minus V1, minus V2 and minus V3 at negative half cycle. So that is how we can get a more approximated sine wave signal using a simple resistor diode arrangement in the circuit. In the slope of the output three times, in this slope of the output changes three times during each quarter cycle. So that is all about how a sinusoidal signal is derived from a triangular wave using a simple resistor diode arrangement with a biasing voltage. Now let us see what we have seen. Function generator is an electronic generating instrument capable of providing various specified waveforms over a wide range of frequencies. It is a versatile instrument used for many purposes such as testing, designing, troubleshooting of electronic equipment, and alignment of radio and television receivers. It produces quick and repetitive waveforms easily. So that is all about the triangular wave to sine wave converter. The question can be asked as explain the sine wave converter circuit using function generator. So this is all about how a function generator produces a triangular wave. Then from the triangular wave, how rectangular or square wave is derived using a Smith trigger, and how from a triangular wave a sine wave is derived using a resistance diode network. Next, we'll discuss about the applications of function generator and audio frequency oscillator, and of course the next topic, radio frequency signal generator, that we will see in the coming topics within a short time. Please stay connected.